Hey everybody, I'm Fred with Bristol Artisan Company in Bristol, Tennessee, and I'm a CAMaster customer. Today we're doing a project working with multi-layered high-density polyethylene or HDPE. Now this comes in a variety of brand names, but you've probably most commonly heard it referred to as Color Core by King Plastics. Now this material is most often used for directional or informational or wayfinding signs. If you've been to a state or national park, you've probably seen it used for that purpose. Now it comes in a variety of thicknesses and color combinations such as black, white, black, red, white, red, and a ton of other combinations. But for this project today, we're going to be using tan, brown, tan. Some of the benefits of using this material is that it has a really long lifespan and it holds up very well outdoors. It's relatively affordable compared to other sign making materials. It's easy to cut and engrave, and once you engrave through the top layer, you have instant contrast to bring your engravings and your lettering to life. The labor required to produce a sign using this material is pretty low. Once you engrave it, you're done. You don't have to prime and paint and do all of these other things. So this makes a good alternative for clients on a budget. Today's project is for a real-world client, a cool little surf shop in Beach Haven, New Jersey called South End Surf and Paddle. They wanted a sign package that would include a couple of informational signs to go on the front of the building, explaining the experiences they offer and the products they sell. They wanted a sign to designate parking, and they also wanted a large sign to go over the back entrance for people who ingress and egress there. When you work with this kind of material, it's best to use an O-flute cutter because they perform very well on soft plastics. In this project, I'll be using 3 cutters, a 1/4-inch O-flute for large clearances and profile cuts, an 1/8-inch O-flute for clearances and some lettering, and then a 1/16-inch O-flute to come back and really tighten up the engravings. I'll be using a conventional cut on all the tool paths because this seems to do a better job at preventing the fuzzies that happen with this kind of material. So let's go ahead and fire up the CAMaster, and then I'll pull up the drawing and we'll talk about our cut strategies for a couple minutes. Okay, let's take a look at the South End logo. So we're going to engrave this. We're going to do 2 passes. We're going to do a clearance pass and a finishing pass. So we take a look at this. We're going to use a 1/4-inch O-flute and an 1/8-inch O-flute. Now, if we look at our feeds and speeds, the 1/4-inch we're running at 18,000 RPM at 220 inches per minute. These are the settings that King Plastics recommends. And for the 1/8-inch finishing pass, we're running that at 16,000 RPM at 80 inches per minute. And again, this is their recommendations. We're going to engrave down 0.08. I've found that's a safe distance. It gets you deep enough to clear the top layer, but it's not too deep. So if we calculate this out and preview it, we're going to get something like this. So let's take a look at it running on the machine. And there's the clearance pass using the 1/4-inch O-flute. Then we follow up with the finishing pass with an 1/8-inch O-flute to tighten everything up. Let's take a look at the lettering tool paths. Now for experiences, those letters are big enough. All we have to use is an 1/8-inch O-flute, same feeds and speeds and depth of cut as before. But on this lettering, there's a lot of it. So we need to do a clearance tool path and then follow it up with a finishing pass. And we're going to do that with an 1/8-inch O-flute, same feeds and speeds, same depth of cut. And then we'll do the finishing pass with a 1/16-inch O-flute, 15,000 RPM at 60 inches per minute. Again, these are the settings that King Plastics recommends. So if we calculate that out and preview that, this is what we end up with. So let's go over to the machine and watch it run this. This is the clearance pass with the 1/8 inch O-flute. And here's the finishing pass with the 1/16 inch O-flute. The last thing that we're going to do before we cut out the profile is we're going to come in here on this offset, and what this is going to do is just add some dimension to the sign. And on this offset, same feeds and speeds and depth of cut as before, but we're going to cut this on the line. So we'll do that and calculate that out, and then we'll come back and take a look at the profile. The profile, 1/4 inch O-flute. We're going to take 2 passes on that, cut to the outside, same feeds and speeds as before, and we calculate that. It tells us we're going to cut 2/1000 through the material, and let's take a look at this. And this is our sign, so let's go watch that run. As you can see, working with this kind of material is a great way to do turn and burn signs. With the right CNC, the right cutters, and the right feeds and speeds, you can turn around a sign like this pretty quick. As a point of reference, this Experiences sign has a lot of engraving, and I think that sign ran for about 45 minutes. Now, there are a couple of caveats to working with this kind of material, particularly the material that has the darker inner core. It is more susceptible to show tooling marks. And also, when the cutter gets in there, it kind of heats the plastic up and it creates what might be like a little film over the color. Now, my experience is that over time, when it gets out in the weather, this settles down a little bit. But at the end of the day, a sign is meant to be viewed from a distance, and when you step back from this a little ways, you don't notice it. The other thing is, no matter how hard you try, you're going to get some fuzzies. So here's a tip to get rid of those. Hit it real quickly with a heat gun and then blast it with some high pressure air, and that should take care of it. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something, but more importantly, I hope you got some of your own ideas. If you're thinking about getting an industrial CNC like this, give CAMaster a call and tell them I sent you. Thanks for watching.